Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are breaking down a complete modern strategy for server-side rendering with React and Next.js. My goal here is simple. By the end of this, you'll have a new playbook for building seriously fast applications, especially in this new app router era. This right here, this is the golden rule of modern web development. It's our North Star. And our entire goal today is to unpack exactly what this means in practice. We're going to go from the high-level idea to the actual concrete steps you can take. Okay, let's dive right in. The absolute heart of this whole strategy, the most critical decision you're going to make, is choosing the right rendering mode. And I mean for every single page. This isn't a one-size-fits-all decision for your app. You've got to be really deliberate about it. So, how do you choose? Well, you always want to start with the cheapest option possible. For stuff that basically never changes, think blog posts, documentation, marketing pages, you're going to go with static site generation, or SSG. It's the fastest and has zero server cost at runtime. Then, for things that change but not all the time, like an e-commerce product list or a newsfeed, that's where incremental static regeneration, ISR, comes in. It's like the best of both worlds. And then, and only then, for the really dynamic user-specific stuff like a dashboard, do you reach for full-on server-side rendering. And this really gets at the new way of thinking in Next.js. React Server Components, or RSCs, are now the default. They're the starting point for everything. Why? Because they run completely on the server and ship zero JavaScript to the client. You only use a client component when you absolutely have to opt into interactivity, for things like click handlers, state management, animations, anything that actually needs to run in the user's browser. Okay, so once you've picked a rendering mode, especially if it's a dynamic one, the server gives you this incredible toolkit to really squeeze out every last drop of performance. The biggest thing to remember here is to do your data fetching on the server whenever you can. The new app router basically supercharges the Fetch API. It automatically caches and even deduplicates requests for you. And what that means for your users is no more client-side waterfalls, where one component has to wait for another to finish loading its data. It means fewer loading spinners and just a way better experience. Seriously, this is one of the biggest performance wins you can get. But okay, what if part of your page is just slow? Maybe you're hitting some external API that takes its sweet time to respond. Does the whole page have to grind to a halt and wait for that one slow piece? No way. And this is where streaming with suspense comes in. It's a total game changer. The server can send the HTML for the parts of the page that are ready, immediately, so the user gets something to look at almost instantly. And then, while they're seeing that initial content, the slow data can just load in the background and stream right into place when it's done. It's all about that perceived performance. Now, here's a really important warning. SSR is blocking. And what that means is the user sees absolutely nothing. Just a blank white screen, until the server has finished rendering the entire page. So if you have any heavy computations, I'm talking big loops, heavy JSON parsing, image processing, or anything like generating a PDF, you cannot do that in the main render path. You have to move that stuff to a background job or an edge function. Keep that initial render lightning fast. All right, let's move on to the next piece of the puzzle. These are kind of the guardian principles that fortify your app's performance. And it really just boils down to two things. Cache everything you can, and then shrink everything you send to the user. Caching is, without a doubt, the backbone of this entire strategy. The fastest apps out there use multiple layers of it. You've got your CDN cache for all the static stuff. Then there's the server cache, which handles things like those fetch requests we talked about. And finally, you can even use a client-side cache for things like super fast navigation between pages. And this is so important. All that incredible work you did on the server is basically pointless if you turn around and ship a massive JavaScript bundle to the client. You can completely undo all your performance gains. The job is not done when the server sends the response. So, your mission is to shrink that client-side JavaScript bundle as much as possible. How do you do it? Well, you use server components as the default. You avoid client components unless you absolutely need them. You're ruthless about adding large libraries. And you use things like dynamic imports to make sure you're only loading the code the user needs right when they need it. Okay, so when we pull all of this together, it's not just a random list of rules, right? It's a new way of thinking. It's a whole mindset for how to build really fast web apps. And this is it. This is the mental checklist. You can run through this for every single component, every page you build. 1. Render as much as you can on the server. 2. Ship as little JavaScript as possible. 3. Cache everything that can be cached. 4. Use full-blown SSR only when you have no other choice. 5. Default to React server components. And 6. Stream your UI for that awesome perceived performance. So I want to leave you with this one question to take back to your own projects. Are you leaving performance on the table? Go look at your app and ask yourself, for real, is every single page in this app using the absolute cheapest, most efficient rendering mode it possibly can?